we just wanted to let you know we're thinking of you through this time. This is a difficult way to say goodbye to someone, but still the same, we feel the loss, and we only want to wish the best for you guys going forward.
We were so grateful to have known Rachel, and she was just always such a bright light in the room and just so full of energy and just wanted to know what everybody was up to all the time and was so encouraging to all of us. And we're so grateful that we were able to have her with us. And the boys were just so lucky to have kind of a third grandma.
Yeah. They will miss her too, for sure.
Yeah.
So, best of luck. And we'll always be thinking of Rachel in our prayers. Bye.
Hi, Natalie and Anthony. It's Ryan. I'm right now in Washington Heights, and I have so many good memories of Aunt Rachel. I mean, like, every memory of her is a good one, because every time I would walk in, she would just be, like, so warm and welcoming. And, like, before I even said hello, she would have, like, complimented me on, like, my shoes. She wouldn't even have seen my shoes. I could not be wearing shoes. It did not matter. She had a compliment to give me, and it was always great, like, seeing her, and just, like, she has so much, like, pride in everybody and her family. And so, I mean, what a warm person. But I think the thing that I, like, love about her the most is just this, like, great sense of humor that she had, and the, like, the sort of, like, the easiness that she had when she was moving through, like, all manner of madness. Like, I remember one time at Anthony's house before Pilgrim Path, we got into this, like, heated debate because she kept on asking me, like, which glasses I liked more. And it was, like, this really fraught conversation because, like, one of them were her, like, fashionable glasses, which she could not see out of, but she really wanted to wear. And the other were, like, actual prescriptions that, like, Natalie was trying to get her to wear. And I was, like, tasked with, like, Ryan, if you see her wearing the fashion glasses, you have to, like, snatch them off of her face and, like, make her wear her, like, proper glasses or something like that. Like, it was just this whole interaction of, like, trying to get Rachel to kind of, like, prioritize herself over, like, being fashionable. But, like, she was so funny about it too. And you know, she'd always come to me and be like, you understand me, right? Like, I can't wear these, like, ugly glasses. And I would be like, of course, Aunt Rachel, like, even if you're blind as a bat, like, you have to, you know, even if you can't see anybody else, you have to look good. Another fun thing that I found, so recently I was going through some old photos, and I found a photo that I feel like, to me, just, like, right away captures Aunt Rachel for me. So I'm gonna show it to you, and hopefully you could see it. But it's Aunt Rachel sitting on a couch. I don't know where this is, but she's in, like, one of those disguises with, like, a balloon. And I don't know, I feel like I see this photo and I'm right there, right? Like, in one photo, it sort of captures something really profound about her spirit and her humor, and that way that she could just, like, deadpan and have, like, this, like, sarcasm to her, but at the same time, like, you know, she's funny and welcoming and warm. And it's hard to kind of capture that all in one person, and she just did it so effortlessly. So tons of good memories with her and with you guys, and I'm thinking about you. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your birthday. Mwah. Lots of love to you. Bye.
Happy birthday, Rachel and Natalie. I'm very grateful that you allowed me to be a part of your life. I have many, many funny stories. Like the time I went to visit you in the hospital after your transplant, and the transplant doctor walked in and you said to him, "Hi, this is my best friend, Shay." Doctor said, "How are you feeling today, Rachel?" And she says, "Oh, I'm great. The only thing I want to know is how was my boob job?" Sometimes Rachel had no filter, but that was what was the best thing about her. She got through life because of her sense of humor, not in spite of it, even though sometimes she didn't have a filter. She would introduce me to total strangers. "Hi, this is my best friend, Shay. Her husband is my boyfriend." People would stand there with their mouths gaping open. And then other than her children and their families, her second love in life was my dog, Nanook. She treated him as though he was human. She cooked for him. She once babysat for me, Nanook for me. And when I came back, she said, Shay, he won't eat his dog food. I don't know what's wrong with him. Rachel, what are you feeding him? Oh, well, last night we gave him a pork chop. I'm like, Rachel, that's why he won't eat his dog food. She called me once and said, Shay, can you come over? I have something for Nanook. I went over, it was a whole half of a prime rib. I said, Rachel, if you're not going to eat this, I'll be more than happy to take it, but this is not for my dog. I'm going to eat it. For people that know me, I don't have a whole lot of friends, but the friends I do have are precious to me. And Rachel was at the top of that list. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your life and family. I love you. I miss you. And you will always be a gem to everyone that knew you. Your light will always shine bright in their lives. Love you. Happy birthday.
Hey!
We're strolling and thinking about Aunt Rachel.
So we're doing a little video commemoration
Yeah.
for Natalie's birthday.
Yeah. We were thinking about the Otesaga, Country House, Wampanoag, North Main, trying to come up with all the different ideas that we could talk about.
Yeah, besides her always buying us wonderful Mega Man video games.
Video games. And what was the other one? Like Slaughter Sport?
Oh, that Genesis game?
Yeah.
Slaughter Sport. Yeah, I think
It was
Slaughter
Slaughter
Sport.
Sport.
That was
Yeah,
a great
that was
game.
sweet. Yeah. And all the candy and whiskey sours. Anytime that there were whiskey sours coming out for the kids, you knew that a good time was happening because the adults were getting a little loose.
Yeah, and then so Aunt Rachel's idea to make virgin whiskey sours.
Yeah, so we would have whiskey sours. But she was the best. We have only positive memories.
Yeah.
Is all we can think
Yeah.
of in there. We're trying to find new ones that we know that you haven't heard yet. But we kind of talk about the same stuff.
Yeah, my thought was I just remember her always, telling me, "Oh, Dougie, you're such a handsome young man," and that coming from my mom is sort of like whatever, mom. But I think coming from Aunt Rachel, it was sort of like it meant something in a way that was like it helped build my confidence. I think as like a young guy and how loving she was and all that stuff. So.
And I remember our dad calling her Razel, which I always thought was like nice because to me it meant that he really cared about her, and I think part of the reason was because he liked how she treated us and how we were around her, and he was so about it, and so I have like a lovely memory of that. So
Anyway, but
We're
I
in
think
the Malibu
we're in Malibu right now. Beautiful ocean. That's
Doing
the
a
ocean
hike.
out there.
yeah.
But I think overall, like we were always just like I think she was just always the guardian of the good time, Like I think
Yeah.
the most,
like that.
like we were kids, like obviously going to Anthony and Natalie's house meant
best.
it was going to be a fucking blast no matter
the
what,
best.
and it was
Yeah.
under that was always on Aunt Rachel's watch.
I have a memory of her also yelling through the house. I could hear her yelling, Anthony, from like the other side of the house. Yeah.
Natalie,
That's so great. But yeah, she was the best.
so sweet.
We only have fond memories.
Little spinning tour.
We're spinning?
We're spinning.
I gotta be in the shot.
Keep on spinning.
Oh, that's good lighting. We should have done it that way.
Oh, do it this way? Okay. Woo. All right, Natalie.
All right, we love you guys.
Hope you're having a great birthday. And thank you, Audrey, for organizing this.
Yes.
Love
Bye.
you guys. Talk to you later.
Good morning, Natalie and Anthony. I just wanted to say how much I admired your mom, Rachel, and the wonderful times that we shared. I have fond memories of seeing Rachel as Audrey was growing up and experiencing Pony Club and her horse shows and all of the work they did at the barn and River Farms as young children. It was a wonderful experience that I had. I remember how kind and warm Rachel was, thinking I always thought she was some rich doctor's wife from West Hartford, but she was just quite the opposite, the most warm, kind and giving person, and you should be very proud that you had Rachel LaSala as your mom. I wish you both well, and I hope all is well. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michael DeConti, Mary Ann's dad. Thanks for the opportunity to share a few thoughts and memories of Rachel. I first got to know Rachel when she lived in West Hartford on Ardmore Road with Mary Ann and Anthony. She was helping Kathy and I take care of Sebastian during the day. We would often take walks around the block, and she would be constantly talking and telling stories to Sebastian. Riding with her to the dialysis center, she liked to talk about the Latin Casino that her dad ran for many years. Rachel talked about all the celebrities that she got to meet. She got to speak with many of them, including Sammy Davis Jr. and the entire Rat Pack gang. At the time, I had a blue Jaguar, and earlier in her life, Rachel also had a blue Jaguar that she liked very much. We would take my car to the dialysis center, where she spent several hours for treatments. When I would pick her up, I would often bring Sebastian with me. She was always so happy to see Sebastian in the car. She would beam from ear to ear, hop in the back seat, sit with him, and talk to him all the way home. In 2016, our families moved in together in Farmington. Rachel would get up each morning with a smile, come down to breakfast, and ask everyone how their evening was. Even though right at that time she was on the at-home dialysis treatment, and some nights were a lot tougher than others, she was always pleasant and upbeat. She adored her grandchildren and spoiled them every chance that she got. When the boys each first learned to say Gigi, she got so excited and proud that they could say her name. She made us all feel welcome in her family and shared everything with us. She was very generous to her family and extended family for birthdays, anniversaries, and other occasions. I have included a picture of Rachel with Kelsey, who also helped take care of the boys, and a group of us celebrating an event, a special occasion for Kelsey. Leo is 2 now, and when he was a baby, everyone wanted to hold him. One day, when Rachel was at the rehab center, I took Leo over to visit her. I asked her if she would like to hold him, and she said certainly, but she felt a little weak and was concerned that if he squirmed, she might lose him. So I told her I'd catch him if he jumped off her lap, and I placed him in her arms, and she gave him a big hug and a kiss and just smiled for 5 minutes. Leo loved it as much as she did, and he didn't jump off her lap. He stayed there and had a good time. I've included a picture of Rachel and Leo in this video. Another memory I have of Rachel was when she and Ed went to movies and dinner. It seemed like twice a week. They saw all the latest movies and would give us a summary of what they saw. She would also make recommendations based on what she thought we would like the most. She was our personal movie critic for quite a while. Attached is a picture of Kathy and Rachel and I as we went to an Indian restaurant that she wanted to try that was new in the area. Rachel had a million stories of family and friends, especially of her father-in-law in New York and her mother-in-law who moved to West Hartford. She reminisced often with Anthony and Natalie about how special both sets of grandparents were. Rachel loved her family and friends very much, especially Natalie and Anthony, who she was very proud of. She felt blessed to be able to live with them for a while and to be able to impart occasionally some motherly advice. She always had a positive attitude about life, and we were blessed to have her with us for the time that we did. Rest in peace, Rachel, until we meet again.
So I wanted to tell 2 quick stories about Rachel, and I apologize that neither one's that funny, but they're the 2 stories that I most remember her by. The first is that you need to know that I was not very cool when I was in 9th grade, and Anthony was much cooler than I was, still is much cooler than I am. But we were in a keyboarding class together, and he was a pretty nice guy, and it took up some nerve, and I kind of asked him if he wanted to hang out one day after school, and he invited me back to his house. And said his mom would come and pick us up. And I was kind of nervous because I didn't have that many friends at that time. And, you know, Aunt was really kind of one of the cool kids in school. And his mom picked us up, and immediately she was just the nicest, sweetest person in the world. Made me feel so at ease, made me feel so comfortable. I think she may have cooked me some manicotti or something when we got back to their house. And from that moment on, I just felt so comfortable in that house. Felt like a part of his family. And I'll never forget that. The other story is when I was 19, my dad and I drove all the way from Connecticut to a Phillies game because my dad's from Philadelphia and he loves the Phillies. And we'd heard forever about Barnacle Ben's and decided that we were going to go out to dinner there. And turns out, I think it was in Conshohocken, which is not that close to Veterans Stadium. It was like an hour drive. And we finally get there. We're exhausted. We drove from Connecticut to the vet to Conshohocken all in a day. And we show up and they are like at the door ready to greet us. VIP treatment, best table in the house, bringing us wine and appetizers and food. And finally their meal's done and my dad asks for the check and he goes, oh, no, of course, there's no check. This is all taken care of by Mrs. LaSala. And, you know, those are the 2 ways that I'll remember Rachel. Just such a unique, such a special, such an amazing person. Who just always went so far out of her way to make people, anyone who came into her life, into her orbit, feel like they were part of her family. And I miss her, and I'm so sorry for your loss, guys. But just know that, you know, we all remember her so fondly and grieve for her with you.
Okay, this is take number 365. I am Marianne, Rachel's daughter-in-law, also known as her favorite daughter. Sorry, Natalie. I just want to tell everybody a little bit about how I first met Rachel. So Anthony and I have been together for about 12 years now, and when we first started dating, we were neighbors on Ardmore Road in West Hartford. And Rachel was living in her big, beautiful home in Cochranville, Pennsylvania, right next to her best friend, Shay. So as you can imagine, it was not easy getting to know her really well, fast, in the beginning, with her living so far away. And I remember Anthony describing her to me, and he would just say, oh, listen, my mom is really special. And I was thinking, well, you know, she's your mother, so you're a little biased. But he would go on to say, no, you don't understand. Everybody loves her. And she doesn't have a mean bone in her body. So with that, we went to go visit her the first weekend, and she greeted us at the door in her Victoria's Secret pajamas, and her nails and her hair were done, and her house was immaculate and beautifully decorated. And so definitely the first impression that I had of her was she talks a lot, and she was also an amazing cook. So then fast forward a couple of years, we get engaged, and we get married, and then all of a sudden Anthony and I have a new roommate. So Rachel actually moved in with us, and she lived with us for most of the time ever since then. And that's definitely not how I was picturing starting our marriage, but I definitely started to realize, and I fully realize now, just how incredibly blessed I was to have that experience and to be able to see her every single day and have a conversation with her, and especially for our kids too, that they were able to live with her and get that close to her and know her as Giggy, and they're never going to forget that. So here we are now, and Anthony, you were so right, and everybody is just trying to find the right words to just describe exactly how incredible she was. You know, she had that ability to just walk in any room and talk to anybody. Anthony used to say she could talk to a brick wall, which is totally true. And she could make anybody laugh, and she made friends instantly. So, we're feeling now this incredible void, but we're gonna just remember her and cherish those memories that we have. I think the bigger question, though, is who's gonna remind Anthony when my birthday is coming up, or our anniversary, or any other special occasion? Or who is going to hold all of the conversations at the dinner table with my really quiet family? Who's going to buy all of the treats? And who's going to travel with Eddie in his RV? The kids had an amazing time with you recently, Eddie. Thank you for that. But really the most important question is who's going to hire the belly dancer for my 40th birthday party, which is still 5 years away, by the way. In all seriousness, Audrey, thank you so much for putting this together. I think this is a really good start and a good way for us to all start to feel some comfort and hopefully have some closure.
Hi, Natalie and Anthony. It's Aunt Linda here. I made a video, but it was 5 minutes long. I guess it was too long, so I wasn't able to email it or text it or whatever you have to do with it. So I have to redo it. Hopefully this one I can send. I had a lot of different memories of Rachel, like fun times, like when she lived with us, and just when we would come to visit you and your family in Connecticut, and what a wonderful hostess she was, and just all the fun times we had with her. But I know I have to keep it short, but I wanted to say the funniest thing that still cracks me up, and I know it cracks you all up, was when you all came to my mom and dad's farm, and he had his truck hooked up to a little wagon, like a little wagon, and he would pull the kids around the field with all the bumps and the lumps all around the field in the little wagon. Well, Rachel decided she was going to do it as well. So she strapped on these big goofy looking goggles that my dad had from his workshop, crammed herself into that little wagon, and off Daddy went, pulling her around like fast, and she was flying all over in that wagon like it's luckily she never bounced out of it, but it was hysterical. Just, she had balls. What can I say? I mean, she was always up for a good time, always looking to have fun. She could always make you laugh, and that was just one of my most funnest memories of your mom. And I know you've seen the video more than once of that whole episode at Dad and Mom's place. So just know that I love you guys, and I will never forget your mom. Just so much here for her. And I talk to her a lot, and waiting for her to respond. But I know she's looking out for all of us, and I know we all miss her so very, very terribly. But love you. I hope this is good. I hope I can get this through, so I better just stop it now. And okay, I hope it goes. Love you. Bye.
Hi, Natalie and Anthony.
Hey guys.
We miss you. It's been quite a while. This whole COVID thing has been really crazy. But we wanted to share some memories of your mom with you guys. So definitely one of the things that stands out to me about your mom is what a great relationship she had with Grace. They've spent a lot of time together. When I would drop Grace off at my parents' and my sister's house, they would share some toast. Grace would just, tell me in the car ride home how she would hear Giggy upstairs, and Gigi always had some really nice things to say about Grace too. Just never anything bad. You know, Grace could never do anything wrong in your mom's eyes. So, you know, it was just a really sweet relationship, and just, she was like another grandma to Grace, and, you know, I will forever cherish that, and absolutely loved that. And again, with, she also just felt like she filled a hole in my heart as well, because I don't have any living grandparents, and so she was just like another grandma to me, and so I definitely cherished that. And then the other thing that I wanted to share is from my in-laws. They had mentioned that Rachel really made an impression on them at our wedding, and that even at family gatherings, Rachel was always very inclusive of them, and always had some funny stories for them, and so they really enjoyed seeing her at those family gatherings. So they are gonna miss her very much. So they wanted to add that for you guys as well.
I certainly will miss your mom, Anthony and Natalie. She always made me feel welcome in the family and our discussions. And no surprise that both Natalie and Anthony, you are the same way. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and your mother was such a great one, and surely see her strengths in both of you. I also wanted to say your mom had some of the best stories I've ever heard. She can talk for hours, and I can listen for hours, let me tell you. I always remember her stories as a child, which your dad, your grandfather, at the Copacabana, and all the great stories. I mean, she's the closest thing I've met to Miles Davis, because, well, she met him, and she told us great stories about the interactions with these great musicians. And what struck me is she's so humble and has so much humility. You'll never know that she was one who had such great interactions with prominent people. I also, want to say that your mom encouraged me throughout law school. We had many great discussions, and while I'm sad that she won't see me cross the finish line, your mom and I used to talk, and I made your mother a promise that when I graduated, I would professionally watch over her family, including you both. And though she's not here, I will stick to my promise and forever watch over you both, whether professionally or any other way I could help, because it's my honor to your mother, and she was a great one. So very blessed to have met her and share great moments with her.
So definitely can't wait to see you guys again. And Natalie, I hope you have a great birthday and that you're really enjoying yourself. So we love you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Take care.
Bye.
Right, this is Sebastian Michael LaSala.
No,
He is the first.
You do it.
He is the first grandchild, and as Gigi would always say, he has an amazing body.
And I like candy.
Yes. So what's one of your favorite things that you remember about Gigi? She gave you a lot of really yummy
candy.
Yes. All right. And what do you want to say to Daddy and Aunt Nat?
I love you.
Say bye.
Bye.
And say bye.
No, I want to do it.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Anthony Jules LaSalle, and my favorite thing about Gigi is Aunt Nat.
Can you say Aunt Nat?
Aunt Nat.
Perfect. You say I love you guys. Say I love you.
I love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Look at the camera.
Bye-bye.
This is Leo Francis LaSala. Leo, who's in this picture right here?
Gigi.
Yes. And Gigi used to say, who's the best baby in this world? And she would also say, how big is Leo?
How big is Leo?
And what do you say? So big. No, you say it loud. Say, so big.
So big.
Perfect. Locust to Daddy and Aunt Nat. Perfect. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So in 2011, Rachel came down for a visit in Bogota, New Jersey. Now, a year before that, one of her favorite shows, Jerseylicious, just came out. So the town in which the show was filmed was not too far away from Bogota. So as soon as she found that out, she wanted to check out the film site. So we took her. Now, once we got there, it was pretty clear, though, that Natalie did not want to go inside. And I certainly did not want to go inside either. But it was not an issue to Rachel at all, because she just walked right outside the car and went right inside. She comes out a while later. Now, one of the questions that she tells us that they asked was, where are you from? So her response was, I'm from New York. So I believe Natalie asked her, you're not from New York, so why would you tell them you're from New York? Now, she responds again saying that, I don't know. So, of course, we thought that was really funny. And in fact, it kind of speaks to her personality, because, you know, any one of us, when you hung out with her, anywhere you go, you know, she always felt like she belonged there. So that was a pretty impressive quality that she had. Now, Rachel, my favorite mother-in-law, I miss you, I love you, and I really hope that you are resting in peace.
Happy birthday, Natalie and Rachel. Miss you guys. Natalie, I hope you have a fantastic birthday. You're away this weekend with your closest friends. You're going to enjoy your friends and your family. And my memory of your mom, she was a hot ticket. I remember going over to your house in your kitchen, and your mom was so generous, talking all the time. And then when you and Audrey had Want Me and you shared a saddle, and your mom had great birthday presents for Audrey and was so generous and fun and laughing, and you have her traits. She could switch things around so quickly and make us laugh. A great memory here on 16 Mountain View Drive, when it was evening, we had you over for dinner, and your mom wrapped herself around the tablecloth and would talk about Anthony, and she cracked us up. And then she drove all that way for Cash's first birthday celebration, and Sawyer was only a couple months old. It was great memories. Remember, she's in you all the time, and you are so much a part of her, and we miss her dearly. Bye. Grammy Bird!
Hi, my name is Joyce, and as Rachel always called me, Joycey. I don't think she ever called me anything else but Joycey. So I've always been Joycey to my wonderful Rachel. Rachel and I met when we were 5. Many, many, many years ago, 63 years ago. And we became fast friends. We were neighbors. And then we pretty much became sisters. We did everything together. We were inseparable. We went to school together. In the summers, we were at the swim club together. We pretty much lived over at the Blumberg residence. It was so much fun being there, and Rachel was such a wonderful, wonderful, good friend. We had lots of adventures together growing up. So many wonderful memories. So many adventures. So many good times. All the wonderful things we did. We learned everything together. We learned to tie our shoes together. We learned to ride our bikes. We learned how to play together. We shared our friends. We shared food. We shared our clothes. We slept over each other's houses all the time. We were, for the most part, pretty inseparable. And growing up with Rachel was just
a wonderful, wonderful thing. We learned to go to dance class together. I'd love to share some funny stories with you about Rachel growing up, some wonderful memories I have of her. We used to go to Diskin's Dance Studio. We danced together all the time. We loved dancing together. We taught each other how to jitterbug, and I still could never jitterbug with anybody but Rachel. We jitterbugged for hours and hours and hours on end in the rec room together with music blasting, and we danced and we danced. We taught each other all kinds of different dances. One time when we were at Diskin's Dance Studio, when we were very, very young in first grade, we were in a recital, and at the very end of the recital, my wonderful friend Rachel thought it would be so funny that she literally pushed me off the stage just when they were taking the pictures, and I never got into the picture of the dance. And she thought that was so funny. One time we were in a talent show together in 6th grade, and we learned to do a ballet dance together. When we ballet danced together, we just had so much fun together. We loved to play dress-ups. We dressed up in clothes all the time, I guess her mom's clothes, and we would play dress-up, and we would pretend that we were grown-up ladies going out on the town, and we would take tights, like leggings, and we would put them on our hair, on our heads, to make it look like we had long hair. And we would go down in the rec room and sit at the bar area downstairs in the rec room, and we would pretend that we were smoking cigarettes and meeting men and had long hair, and we would brush our tights back off of our hair to pretend that it was long hair. We traveled a lot. We would go to Atlantic City together. We would go to Aunt Jean's house in Maryland. We went to Aunt Esther's house in Pennsylvania. And once every summer, Aunt Minnie took us to Seaside Heights, where we would spend the day on the amusements and the beach. And it was just a grand time. We taught each other so many things. We learned to do everything together. We just grew up together like sisters, like any sisters would do, living together day in and day out and sharing all our experiences, the good times, the bad times, the boyfriends, the fights with friends, swimming together, playing together. She was the love of my life. She was the maid of honor at my wedding, and we just shared everything that we could together. You know, as the years went on, we separated a little bit in her world. She went to Connecticut, of course, and I was still in New Jersey, and we saw each other as much as we could. We would speak on the phone, usually on our birthdays, and I loved Rachel. I loved every minute of being with her. I was the luckiest person in the world to have such a wonderful friend, and I'm sure she is so surely missed. And just wanted to share some of my thoughts with you of my wonderful, wonderful Rachel. But thank you for letting me spend some time reminiscing and talking about how lucky I was to have Rachel in my life. Thank you very much, and may she rest in peace, and so that we all know how sadly and surely she is missed. Thank you, and love to all of you.
I'm Kathy, Marianne's mother, and I enjoyed Rachel a lot. She was my friend, and I enjoyed conversing with her, and hearing all the stories of her family, and also enjoyed meeting the family. She was my cooking partner too, and watching movies and going out to eat, and also going other places with her. And I met Ed at the same time, and he was very special to meet, and I saw how my daughter was so helpful to her even in the middle of the night too. It was wonderful when my daughter married Anthony, and then I met Natalie and Luba too, and we had many wonderful parties, and I miss her a lot, having special times to talk with her, go to movies, and watch movies on the TV, and also go to the movies too, and going out to eat with Ed and her, and going other places with her. It's nice. Bye.
Nat, happy birthday to Anthony and Nat. I just wanted to share a brief memory with you about Rachel. The first time I had met her, I was with Audrey down in Pennsylvania. I believe she was living with Rosie down there, and we stopped in to visit her, Rosie, and Natalie. And Rachel, at the time was basically living in pajamas, which I think she did a lot. I'd seen her in some elegant gowns before, but what I will say is no matter what she was wearing, she was always elegant and had an air about her that would have basically made her the perfect date at any party. That's how I'll always remember her. She was funny and smart, very eloquent, and she will be sorely missed, but always remembered. So I hope you two are doing well, and Natalie, again, happy birthday.
All right, Anthony, Natalie, it's John Walker here. How's it going? I'm in my backyard in Los Angeles, and I just wanted to share some thoughts about Rachel. And let's see. So she was one of the most considerate people I've ever known. So warm, and always just energized people around her. And I always felt like I was with somebody special, that I was somebody special, just being in her presence. She had just a positive energy that that if I were ever feeling down, being with her would make me feel just happy and comfortable. There was always food available at your house, and she's always feeding me, and also feeding me compliments. She would always be like, "You're going to be president of the United States." Or I remember the first time I ever when I started playing guitar when I was 15. Anthony, I played a song, like you and your mom were the first people I ever played a live song to on the guitar. It was this Pearl Jam song, Elderly Woman Behind the Counter in a Small Town, something like that. And I just remember I was so nervous, but like I finished and I looked up and she was like so complimentary, and it had a big impact on the way I felt about myself, and gave me confidence. I remember just feeling so comfortable with her to be able to share anything. I remember sleeping over probably middle school and being scared of the Beethoven statue that was in the in that little room, and I was normally I would not like tell my parents that I was afraid of a statue or something like that, but I told her because I felt comfortable with her, and she turned it around for me to help me sleep. And I remember the next time I came to sleep over, and when I went into the room, the statue had been turned around so that I felt comfortable enough to go to sleep. And it was stuff like that that just made me love her so much. And I'll always I have an image of her too in my head of we were in that Chevy Blazer, that black Chevy Blazer with the tinted windows, and she was driving, and we were listening to 95.7, which is something my parents wouldn't listen to. They'd always just listen to NPR. That was all that was allowed in the car. And I'm like, she is the coolest mom. And then the song Let's Talk About Sex started playing, and she started singing along. She knew all the words, like, let's talk about sex, baby. And I'm like, she is the coolest mom, the coolest person I know. And yeah, well, just wanted to share those thoughts, and yeah, love you guys so much. All right, bye.
Hi everyone, my name's Jed Siegel, and I've known Rachel and Anthony and Natalie more or less my entire life at this point. What is there to say about Rachel? There's too many words. Things I can remember, just her keeping the house stocked full of candy and junk food, which I'm sure everybody's remembering. Or just being like a second mother to all of us. But the thing that comes to mind the most is just how much she loved us and how much she loved this girl. Say hi, Haley. Haley loved her, and she loved Haley more than I think anybody. And just loved when she came over and played and saw Haley and had a good time. So hopefully this means something, and we all miss her.
So Rachel's birthday and Natalie's birthday, they share the same birthday, September 27th. And
I didn't know that.
yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Anyway, I just wanted to say a few words about Rachel. I don't think I could talk, but
Not a big baby. We
I
love
don't know.
Rachel.
She was my best friend at one time in my life. She was my maid of honor, and you know, we were supposed to grow old together, but I guess life gets in the way and things happen, and sad to say that we really, you know, had some times that a couple of decades that I wasn't communicating with her, but always thought of her and just loved her for who she was, and she was just a wonderful human being. She was just great. She was just fun. Rachel was fun, and caring and giving, and she was a great cook, and she got along even better with my mother than I did. They did. They really, you know, they cooked together, and they really had this wonderful connection, my mother and Rachel. And I just loved her, and I'm going to miss her. And, you know, she's a piece of my heart is gone, and will be gone forever. What are you going to say?
I loved how Rachel was always very welcoming, and to us, to Doug and Drew, she just made her house open house for everybody, and she was always happy to have everybody there. And I particularly remember, I mean, the most obviously when our kids were small, and they grow up with their kids and literally grew up with them and still have a wonderful relationship, the cousins, and she helped to foster that. She loved having us there and loved having the kids there, and she was just always a good time. I never heard her get mad. I never heard her yell. She was just great. And I remember one time, I wish I could find, we have a video of it somewhere, and if we track it down we will, where she had found some cheerleader pom-poms, and we were all upstairs
In the attic.
in the attic, and she kept going up to everybody going, push it back, and dressed like a cheerleader or something, and just, it was very, very funny. And I did call her Razel all the time. I don't know why I called her Razel, but there was one line that I used to say to her every time that I saw her, and it's from The Honeymooners, when there was a character in one of the episodes, and Ralph Cramden has this line where he says, "Oh, Rachel, you've come back," and I would say that to her every time, and I wish I could have said to her this time, because I sure wish she'd come back, and that's really, really sad.
And, you know, one other thing is, you know, to have your father-in-law, you know, sick and dying in your house, that was just, that's the way she was, you know. You know, she was just so giving and just a great person.
Yep, great person. A light lit up the room, and that was the way she was. And that's the way I'll always remember.
Uncle Frank, and I'm wishing Natalie a happy birthday. Also, I'd like to talk about Rachel, and I know her birthday and Natalie's birthday are the same, so let's get started. First of all, I want to let Natalie know that I love her very much, and I appreciate being able to do the video even though I look very comical. So, memories of Rachel. Well, you know, I moved up to West Hartford, and guess where I stayed? Oh, wow, look at that. I stayed at Tony and Rachel's for my first 2 years here. And for a mother who had 2 kids, one just was born, Natalie, I think that was very gracious of her to accept me in the family, in the household. I lived in the basement. I went to work, and on my days off, I helped out, taking care of Anthony, taking him to school, and taking care of Natalie, watching her. I even changed the diapers and went upstairs to, when she was crying, to soothe her and put her back to bed. That was very memorable times. Rachel was a great cook, a good host, and a wonderful mother to Anthony and Natalie. Specific memories, I remember taking walks at the reservoir with Rachel and the kids, with her mom. I remember going to Westmore Park, going on trips to Block Island with my dad and my mom and Rachel and the kids, flying kites. I remember when Grandpa used to come up with his Buick and visit. Saturdays and Sundays were always very interesting for meals. Sometimes they had a big bagels, lox, whitefish type of breakfast. Sometimes it was pancakes. It was very good eating at Rachel's. What else? Memories? Recent memories of Rachel at Pilgrim Way. She was a great grandma. Kids loved her. Every time I came and visited, she always had a smile and was glad to see me. She was very open and receptive to Mary, and very encouraging in our relationship. And she took her issues, her medical issues, with great fortitude, and always had a positive attitude. So I want to end this video and saying happy birthday to Natalie, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hi, Mary says hi too.
Hi, Natalie. Happy birthday.
Hope to see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody. This is Eddie Salgado, Rachel's best friend for over 20 years. Anyway, I have a few funny stories to tell, but some of them would be embarrassing. But one of the funny stories was we were stuck on the highway in my TR6, and it started to rain, and I had no roof, so we had to put an umbrella over the cockpit of the car. And I'll send you pictures which you can see Rachel inside holding the umbrella while I was driving. Another story was, anytime she would go out, I would always have to look her over to make sure she wasn't wearing something inside out or backwards, or putting on her shoes on the wrong feet. So anyway, Rachel was very funny. She had a big heart. She loved everybody. Everybody loved her, and we're all gonna miss her. And we'll all see her someday up there in the big ballroom in the sky. So I hope everybody's having a good time here at Rachel's Memorial, and talk to you soon.
Gosh, what a crazy 6 months this has been. Rachel, you've, as we all know, like a second mother to me. Probably the reason that I was, how do you say it, obese as a child. But, you know, incredible times. You've just been always in my mind, and I can't believe it's been, at this point, 4 or 5 months now. So, to celebrate your birthday, I thought I would celebrate with the reason that I was such a large child and why I'm working so hard to work that off. But love you guys, Natalie, Anthony, Marianne, all the Salas, the Contis. I know it's a tough time, but we're here for you. Love you guys.
Hello! Happy birthday, Natalie. This is Blaze. I'm currently in Zion National Park, driving up to South Dakota. Anyways, I figured I'd show you some horses. Yep, those are definitely horses, 100%. And yeah, I figured you loved horses, so might as well show you some horses. Anyways, I hope you're doing well. I love you guys, and I don't know, my favorite memory of Rachel is how handsome she always called me, and how often, whenever I found her, she would just come over and hug me. I never got tired of that. Anyways, I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a great birthday, and I'll talk with you later. Love you.
Hi, Natalie and Anthony. This is the bro. Thinking about my sister, as I often do. Missing her phone calls that she would give me to cheer me up, even though she had just gotten out of the hospital for the last 30 days. My birthday, where 4 or 5 cards were normal. I asked her how come. She said, well, I found them all funny. I said, well, I got to agree. They were, and I enjoyed them, that's for sure. Thinking back to the Woodcrest days, when our house was always an open house and everybody seemed to gather there. The Woodcrest swimming pool, the swimming teams. Most memorable, of course, is the disc and dance studio that for at least 10 years or more, they'd have a recital at the end of the year. It was held in a gymnasium, no air conditioning, packed to the rafters. It was torture. However, I think Rachel probably got a lot out of it because, later on she became pretty accomplished and really enjoyed her dancing. Then, unfortunately, circumstances, my mother decided to move to Florida, to Kendall. That's kind of like North Miami Beach. And like always, they became friendly with everybody. The house was open to anybody. So one day they're at the pool. They come home from the pool. My mother goes into the living room. Rachel into her bedroom. Opens a closet door, and there's a guy in the closet. She starts screaming. The guy runs by her, runs into my mother, and out the door. My mother replies back, Rachel, what are you doing with a man in your room? Meanwhile, Rachel's hysterical on the floor. That wasn't a man, that was a robber. Anyway, again, I miss you guys. Circumstances prevent us from meeting, but I think that's going to end soon because I've about had it. Anyway, hi to everybody, love you. I'll see you in the near future.
Hi, Natalie. Hi, Anthony. When tasked with finding my favorite memory of Aunt Rachel, has proved to be quite challenging. There's just been so many between my summers that I spent with you guys and having Aunt Rachel live with my mom and my dad for a while, and just all the time that we spent growing up and having great conversation, fun times. Your mom was just so much fun, and she was so wonderful and would light up a room and was always the most positive, optimistic person that I've ever met, despite everything that she went through for so many years. But if I'm to pick a memory, I guess my favorite memory would be, I think it was about 3 or 4 summers in a row where I came and spent it in Connecticut with you, and we would go to Lake Otesaga, and we would go to your country house. And the one day or I guess it was overnight, sorry, we did a girls trip. Me, Aunt Rachel, and of course Natalie. And we went to Woodstock. This was in my early teenage phase when I was finally, or not finally, but starting to get into the music scene. And we walked up and down the streets of Woodstock. I bought a bunch of cool t-shirts, but I also got my first jar of Manic Panic red hair dye. My mom would have never approved that, but Aunt Rachel let me do it. And I think we were staying in a Howard Johnson or something off the highway, and Aunt Rachel dyed my hair vampire red. We completely trashed the hotel room and the bathroom. It looked like a slaughterhouse. And that was it. That's how first time I ever trashed a hotel room, first time I ever dyed my hair. It was a really great time. And that's, as I said, just one of many great times. Think of my grandparents' farm and your mom being the only adult willing to get into a wagon with us kids and to ride the tractor and wearing the goggles. I remember going to the Boston when she had her dancing competition, and I tried on every one of her ballroom dresses and did a really awesome photo shoot. And just the summers in Connecticut, driving around in the station wagon in the back, listening to the disco album and the Doors album, and Aunt Rachel telling stories about how she went to the Doors concert where Jim Morrison, I don't even know what happened, but something along the lines that she saw that was inappropriate. But love Aunt Rachel very much. I miss her very much. I'm so sorry for everything you guys are going through, but she will always be in my heart. I will always love her. I will always think of her. And yeah, love you guys. Bye.
I just wanted to say that your mom was the sweetest little lady I ever met, and I swear to God, at least once a week, I look at Alice here and start cracking up over your mom's statement that she wanted her eye makeup done like Alice.
Okay, so first things first, I'd really like to just say happy birthday to Natalie, Audrey, and Rachel. Hope you guys have a really good day. You too, Rachel, in heaven, because we all know that's exactly where she is. Seriously, one of the nicest, kindest, funny, loving people I ever knew. Have tons of memories, and they're always funny. I've been thinking about her a lot lately, actually, with the cooler weather. I always make chicken noodle soup when it gets cooler out, and Rachel absolutely loved it. So it was one of the greatest things for me to be able to do for her, because I knew it made her so happy. So it's a little sad that I won't be able to do that for her this year, but I will still make it for Natalie. I'm sure that makes her very happy. I really can't say enough just how great she was and how much everyone loved her, and she loved everyone. She really had a gift to make you smile, always had a joke or a funny story, usually about Natalie. But we, of course, loved all of her stories, and love you guys, and so sorry that you're having to go through this. Hopefully this weekend will help. So talk to y'all soon.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry about your mom. I've known Rachel since I was really little, and I remember being pretty intimidated by her when I first met her because she was so fancy, always dressed up so nicely. My favorite was definitely the riding outfit. Natalie, I know that was one of your favorites too. But in all seriousness, I have found out what an amazing person she really was, and how special she was, and what a bright light she had within herself. Whether it's being at Friendsgiving, it was surrounded by family and friends, or in the ER, just always with a smile on her face and being so kind to people. don't find that so often. So I'm really sorry that this happened to you, and I hope that sharing these memories really keeps all of these great stories alive for you. I know how much she loved you and how super proud she was of you.
Good morning. Excuse the bedhead. What can I say about Rachel? I love that woman. My special memory of her is meeting her the first day at her daughter-in-law's wedding. And I was told that there was a herbal hairdo being done in another room, and could I help the situation? And Rachel walked in with her cute little jeans and her little wife beater and her bracelets. I love those bracelets. Give me those bracelets. And immediately looking right at her, I was like, we are the same person. And Natalie, as you know, we all have the same birthday, so yeah, I fucking loved your mom. I still do, and I miss her. And that's about all I can say. Love you guys. Bye.
So, I'm sitting here freezing my ass off. I am wrapped in a blanket, and this is something that I remember Rachel doing all the time, and dressed in her lovely but inappropriate lingerie and attire at odd times of the day, and even when there are people coming over. I'm not in any lingerie right now. I'm in a sweatshirt because it's freezing, and I'm under 2 blankets, which I know Rachel would be probably under 10 and wearing her La Sala sweatshirt right now. I just want to say a few words. Rachel is like a second mom to me, and she meant the world to me. I have so many memories and so many funny stories of her, and she was always someone that I could go to and feel comfortable, feel comforted. She exuded love and happiness and joy even when she was sick. We all know that. But even before she was sick, I just always felt like I could be myself with her, and because she was herself, she was truly who she wanted to be, and she didn't really care. She would show up at the barn wearing jodhpurs and high-heeled boots and like fluffy blouses, and her hair done and makeup and Spalding hanging out the window, and she just didn't care. She would walk in like she owned the place, and she was like a movie star in my mind as a little girl. At her home, I always felt able to just be who I was, and Natalie accepted me for that too, and Anthony and the whole La Sala crew. And I just I think of her often. I think of her a lot. I think of her as now that I'm a mom, and how she would look at things or make me laugh. And maybe some of you don't know this, but I also lived with Rachel when she was in Cochranville in Pennsylvania for a few months. Again, completely inappropriate attire, and I'd have to yell at her about putting on non-high heel shoes, but her home was immaculate, and she just made me feel so welcome, and it was nice to just spend every day with her after work, and she'd hear my stories, and she just would listen. She was a great, she was a great friend. She was a great person. And again, I am very sorry that she's not here with us, and I wish that she was, to see all of us grow, to see Anthony and Natalie grow, and the grandkids, and watch my kids and all of that. But I know that she's looking down on us, and I know that she is watching over us. And I don't think that there's a better person out there as an example of who you should be in this world, especially in times like this. Rachel was always positive, was welcoming, was happy. She cared about everyone. She was funny as hell. She made me laugh all the time. She said great stories, and I think we all need to strive to be a little bit more like her. And she's, again, one of the nicest persons I've ever met. Natalie, sorry, Anthony. Natalie, take the cake, too. You're one of the nicest persons I've ever met. Anthony, you're okay. But in general, I think that, hold on. So in closing, I just want to say, Rachel, you raised two wonderful human beings, and Natalie and Anthony, I love you very much, and we're all here for you to support and cheer you on and help you throughout your life. You have a huge crew of people here in your corner. Number two, Rachel, thank you for everything you did for me and all the support and love that you showed and all the laughs and memories that we shared. And I'll forever miss you. And last thing I would say is hope everyone stays safe, takes care of one another, and try to be a little bit more like Rachel. Thanks.